So DC's new Absolute universe has been a huge success. I had a feeling from the beginning that these comics were going to be something special, but I never would have expected just how much these versions of the characters would explode in popularity. The biggest appeal of Absolute DC for me, besides the incredible creative teams behind the books, is seeing these iconic DC characters get rebuilt from the ground up, with a fundamental part of them changed or completely missing. Batman without his money, Superman without his life on Earth, Wonder Woman without her Amazon family, Green Arrow without his being alive. Yeah, that's pretty essential, I think. So today I want to challenge myself a little bit. I have here a randomizer with over 50 DC characters who haven't appeared in the Absolute universe. I'm going to spin the wheel, and no matter who it lands on, whether I know them or if I don't, I'm going to come up with how I'd write the Absolute version of that character. No script, no prep time, completely on the spot. So move over, Darkseid. There's a new architect of the Absolute universe. This is either going to be a very fun video, or it's going to expose me as a talentless hack and a fake fan. So fingers crossed, I guess. All right, spinning the wheel for the first time. I'm honestly kind of scared. Amazo. Okay. So I think my thought process is I'm going to work a little bit backwards. I'm going to find something that I think is an integral aspect of a character and see what ways it could be changed or removed to still be an interesting story and work as a standalone comic. Amazo first appeared in The Brave and the Bold number 30 from 1960, written by Gardner Fox with pencils by Mike Sekowsky. He is an android created by Dr. Ivo, who has the ability to like steal and copy other superheroes' powers. I don't think he's ever had a solo book. So he wouldn't, I don't know if he could, I actually could be interesting in a solo Absolute Amazo comic. I think something that I would consider a core aspect of Amazo is his lack of humanity. The fact that he's a robot created by Dr. Ivo to fight the Justice League. You could do something similar to like Iron Giant with him, which could be interesting. Maybe he's like a weapon and he has a consciousness and he doesn't want to hurt people. The whole pitch for Iron Giant is, what if a gun doesn't want to be a gun? What if Amazo doesn't want to be Amazo? And to make the moral dilemma like a little bit more interesting, the more he absorbs people, the less robotic he becomes. And so if he's a robot that doesn't want to be a robot and he doesn't want to hurt people, but the more he absorbs, the more he hurts people, the less robot he becomes, that could be kind of like a very interesting character conflict. Whether or not you can do a solo Amazo book, maybe that could actually, or maybe put him as a villain in something like, Absolute Superman, or do an Absolute like Red Tornado comic. Is he in the Absolute universe? I don't think he is. What we got, baby? Who we got? Static. Okay, a little bit of a complicated one because technically Static is under the Milestone label. Virgil Hawkins first appeared in Static number 1 in June of 1993, created by Mike Goat, Dwayne McDuffie, as well as Derek T. Dingle, Dennis Cohen, and Michael Davis. There's a lot of things about Static that I love that are like defining parts of his character. His stories, like a lot of Milestone comics, tackled very serious issues about race and politics. I don't think you should remove that. Don't remove the wokeness from Static. That'd be crazy. The thing that's jumping out to me immediately is that a lot of Static stories are about youth and like coming of age and sort of growing up. So how would you take that aspect away from the character? And I think what you could do is honestly do something similar to what Ultimate Spider-Man did by Jonathan Hickman and Margaret Chicchetto. Instead of being bitten by a spider as a teenager, he actively chose to become Spider-Man late into his life. And so you could do something similar with that, where instead of an accident that gives Virgil his powers, a willing decision. Maybe it could be kind of like a revolutionary thing. He chooses to have these abilities as sort of like a way to fight back against, an oppressive system or oppressive police force or something like that. I think it'd be very interesting. I'm not the guy to write a Static book. All right. Spin the wheel. Dr. Fate. Dr. Fate first appeared in More Fun Comics number 55 from 1940, written by Gardner Fox and Howard Sherman. Dr. Fate could be interesting because in Absolute Evil, they basically showed that the JSA they got fucked over. Like, they didn't exist. They showed kind of the history of the Absolute DC universe, and a lot of these famous Golden Age characters were either killed instantly or they were like bought out. Like, they were prevented from being superheroes. So Dr. Fate is Kent Nelson wearing the helmet of Nabu, and when he puts the helmet on, it possesses him, and he's essentially the avatar of the god Nabu. What if the Absolute version is instead Kent Nelson is like performing a ritual to keep Nabu trapped? He's sort of like trying to have dominion over this all-powerful cosmic being, sort of similar to the beginning of Sandman. Ironically enough, is inspired by a Golden Age character, where you had this like anti-corporeal being that is Dream trapped in this circle, in this globe for decades and years. And then we saw the aftermath of what happened when you keep the god of dreams captured. What if you really play with that? What if you really play with like how much power can one person try to have dominion over? I think that could be interesting. And hey, speaking of the Sandman, a guy who famously makes you sleepy, this video is sponsored by Helix. Helix makes premium mattresses and bedding that are customized to fit your needs and sends them straight to your door for free if you live in the US. Listen, I have said it before and I will say it again. I love Helix. I was so excited when they first reached out to me because I've seen their spots so many times on creators that I really love. And I can happily say that after 3 months, I still adore my Helix mattress. And part of why I love it is that from the start, they helped make sure that it was the right fit for me. Buying something as important as a mattress online sounds like it'd be kind of scary, but Helix makes it super easy with their sleep quiz. Just answer a few questions like how many sleepers there are, your height and your weight, and how you like to sleep. And they pick out a mattress from over 20 different models specifically specifically to fit your needs. And a good mattress is extremely important. You spend something like a third of your life in bed. I think that's the statistic. I did the same bit in the last time I did a Helix Monster, and I genuinely forgot to make sure that's the right stat. I think it's something like that. I prefer a softer feel, and I'm a big tosser and turner at night, really into tossing and turning. So I was paired with a Helix Sunset Luxe model. And Olivia and I tend to run pretty hot at night, so we also got the Glaciotex cooling cover, which helps to regulate temperature. I'm the kind of person that really doesn't respond well to change, especially for like big stuff and important stuff like sleep and a mattress. But immediately I fell in love with this thing. It's the perfect level of soft. I feel like I'm sinking into a cloud every night. We've had it for about 3 months now, and I'm falling asleep faster and just generally getting better sleep each night. The time at which I go to sleep, that's another story, but that has nothing to do with the mattress. If you're looking for better sleep but not ready to get a whole new mattress just yet, Helix actually now offers mattress toppers to extend the life of your current mattress, or their new Comfort Adjust cooling pillow. You can customize it to fit your needs, like different firmness options and sleep positions. So it's a great way to improve your comfort and your sleep without going all in for a whole new mattress right now. Helix offers a lifetime warranty. Plus, if you're not happy with your mattress for any reason, they also offer a 120-night sleep trial with easy returns and exchanges. So if you're still worried about buying a mattress online, if for whatever reason the sleep quiz doesn't get it right, which it probably will, but just in case it doesn't get it right, you still have plenty of time to make sure that it's a good fit for you. Right now, Helix is having their Memorial Day sale, so you can get 27% off site-wide when you use my link down below. I'm filming this very late tonight, and I'm very tired, so guess what I'm gonna do right after this? I'm gonna edit the video, but when I'm done, I'm gonna go sleep on my Helix mattress. Thanks to Helix for sponsoring this video, and thanks to my patrons and channel members who help make these videos possible, starting at just $1 a month. All right, spinning the wheel. Who we got, baby? Hit me. Cassandra Cain. Cass first appeared in Batman number 567 from 1999, created by Kelly Puckett and Damian Scott. She is the daughter of David Cain and Lady Shiva. Cass is like my favorite member of the Bat family. Like, to be totally honest, if she's not my favorite on any given day, she's at least like top 3 for me. I adore that character. There's a couple different ways you could go about this. Immediately, I'm thinking have her be raised by Lady Shiva, have like maybe like a good relationship with her that could be interesting. I think that's what's interesting about Absolute Wonder Woman, that this version of Diana was raised by, you know, quote unquote villain that is Cersei, and you've essentially given Cersei the role of Hippolyta. And so you could do something with that maybe, and like Cassandra Cain with a healthy childhood, right? Imagine that. The reason I've always loved Cass has been she has such a deep love and understanding of like the Batman mantle and the symbol and what it's supposed to be. And so what if you take that away? What if you take her understanding of Batman away, her love of Batman, her idolization of the symbol? So you could have it that she hates Batman. She hates what absolute Batman's doing. She hates the big brick on his chest. And maybe she finds some other way of finding another guiding symbol in her life that's not necessarily Batman. And we would have to sort of see, like, she'd probably be introduced in Absolute Batman first before any kind of solo stuff, in the same way that the Robins were. So I'm interested to see how she could tie into that. We've got Cyborg. Vic Stone first appeared in DC Comics Presents number 26 from 1980, written by Marv Wolfman with art by George Perez. Instantly, the thing that I am thinking about is flipping the roles on it completely. Instead of a man who becomes mostly machine, what if he's a machine that becomes mostly man? What if Vic Stone died in an accident and Silas wants to bring him back, and so he takes his body and puts a cyborg brain in him, you know? So the person that is Vic Stone is no longer there. The soul is no longer there. His memories, his personality, the things that made him who he is, those are no longer there. Technically, from the outside in, Vic Stone's still alive. Vic Stone has come back to life. He's resurrected. And so maybe, like, instead of superhero stuff, maybe it's like he has to live a normal life and take over this life of Vic Stone. You know, he has to go to school, he has to go to college and play football when he deep down knows he's not a human. He's a machine that was created for the purpose of satisfying a mourning father. We've got Donna Troy. Donna Troy. Oh, that's a hard one, because she's a character who famously, she has undergone so many changes in origin ever since her creation. To keep it very short, what happened was the concept of Wonder Girl was originally it was a book about Diana, her mom Hippolyta, and a younger version of Diana going on silly fun adventures because comics were weird. And so then the creator of the Teen Titans didn't know that. And he was like, I want to make a book about all the sidekicks. So let's get all the sidekicks. Oh, we got Robin, we got Kid Flash. Everybody loves Kid Flash. Oh, let's get Aqualad in here. And who's this? Oh, Wonder Girl? Yeah, sure. Let's put Wonder Girl in this book. He unintentionally made a whole new character because of that. And so DC has kind of been scrambling for decades ever since. Basically, every time Donna Troy shows up, she's a different character. She at least has a different backstory. So I wonder if you could make it so that Donna, you could lean into the fact that she was originally young Wonder Woman and give her Diana's origin. Just make her a girl made of clay from Hippolyta who was raised on Themyscira as their princess. And so it could be almost like the life that was stolen from Diana. That could be very interesting. I don't want to step on the toes of what Absolute Wonder Woman's doing though, because they're gonna do Donna soon. They have to. They have to. All right, who we got? Who we got next? Who we got next? Deadman. I really thought we were gonna end on Etrigan there, and I was gonna say Etrigan, but he doesn't rhyme. Oh, Deadman is fun. Deadman first appeared in Strange Adventures number 205 from 1967, created by Arnold Drake and Carmine Infantino. Boston Brand was a circus performer who was killed during a performance, and he's now a ghost. He's a ghost called Deadman, and so he can't be seen by anybody. So what he does is he will possess the bodies of the living to kind of interact with the rest of the world and the outside world and stuff. What could be cool about an absolute dead man? Okay, I have a couple ideas here. So you could do the absolute Green Arrow situation where instead of being alive, he's dead. You could do, instead of being dead, Deadman is actually alive. Real groundbreaking idea. But you could be like a Pushing Daisies, the Lee Pace show, where he had the ability to bring people back to life for a short amount of time and then ask them questions. Or like iZombie, where she would eat the brains of these murder victims and then sort of like get flashes of their memories, and then she'd help like figure out who killed them and stuff. Very fun show. I love iZombie. Traditionally, when Deadman possesses somebody, it's very like obtrusive. It's very like, it's almost like violating. He'll fly into somebody, do something, and leave. And he also doesn't have like the memories of that person or the skill sets of that person. So what if he has to talk to them? What if he has to ask permission? What if he has to say, hey, I need your memories for this. I need to know like how to do this specific skill set. And what if maybe he doesn't possess alive people? Maybe he possesses dead people. Like he haunts a graveyard and has to ask permission to go into the zombified body of somebody. And then you have to learn about them and learn about their backstory and what they want. And maybe like it only works one time, so he has to keep finding different people. It's almost like taking the singular man out of Deadman and making it kind of like a communal thing. Like, hey, I have to do this. I have to achieve this goal. Can I use your body to go do that? And then that person would have to say yes or no, or hey, you can do this, but on one condition. Can you help me do this? Sort of like a horror quantum leap. I think that could be very cool. Okay, spin of the wheel. Who else we got? Who else we got? Who else we got? Booster Gold. I was waiting for this one. Booster Gold first appeared in Booster Gold number 1 from 1986, created by Dan Jurgens and Mike DiCarlo. Michael John Carter was a failed athlete from the future who steals time travel technology, and he goes back to the present. He comes back to the modern time of the age of superheroes, as they call it, to be a superhero and to become famous. There's one thing that's like sticking out to me that could actually be very funny. Instead of from the future, make him a caveman. Make him from the past who accidentally stumbles into some time travel stuff, comes here and is accidentally branded a superhero. And I think it could be like a very fun showcase that like not every absolute book has to be this dark, edgy, super intense thing. You could have fun, silly, light absolute DC comics too if you wanted to. I don't think they'd ever do that, but I think that'd be fun. All right, who's next? It's Booster Gold again. Awesome. I have to come up with another pitch for Booster Gold. Okay, what if instead of coming back from the future to be a superhero, he's a villain? That's just abracadabra. But you know. All right, spin it, baby. Spin it. Who we got? Blue Beetle, right after Booster Gold, of course. Blue Beetle's a hard one because you've got 3 Blue Beetles. The Dan Garrett version of Blue Beetle first appeared in Mystery Men Comics number 1 from 1939, created by Charles Nicholas Wachkowski. And then the Ted Kord version first appeared in Captain Atom number 83 from 1966, created by Steve Ditko and David Kaler. And then the Jaime Reyes version first appeared in Infinite Crisis number 3 from 2006, created by Keith Giffen, John Rogers, and Cully Hamner. And what's very fun about the Blue Beetle like legacy mantle is, unlike something like the Flash, where they're all guys that run fast. You get the gist when they're the Flash. Every single one of these Blue Beetles is radically different. Dan Garrett is this like mystical like archaeologist type of guy, and then Ted Kord is this very like science first. He's Night Owl from Watchmen. That's who Night Owl was based on. And then Jaime Reyes, we all know, with the alien scarab on his back that gives him that full suit of armor. So doing like the absolute version is really gonna depend on like which one, because they're just like Ted Kord and Jaime Reyes have such radically different things. Or honestly, what could be fun is to take the legacy out of Blue Beetle. Maybe it's like Dan Garrett who through mystical magic scarab stuff, or even like the traditional alien scarab, maybe he doesn't age, maybe he's immortal, and so he goes through like different eras of the world. It's like almost like period pieces or something. That could be interesting. Removing the other characters that especially Ted Kord and Jaime, who have, those two are the more popular Blue Beetle character. That could be a very interesting twist that could put Dan Garrett like kind of back in like the spotlight of Blue Beetle. Or if we're going with the caveman Booster Gold idea, maybe it's like Ted is a real beetle that's just following him around. All right, who we got, baby? Ben 10. Why is that on this list? Ben 10's not a DC character. Ben 10, famous DC character. There's a new Ben 10 comic out right now that actually just came out. I haven't had a chance to read it yet because it's sold out everywhere. There actually is a fan comic of Absolute Ben 10 by a friend of mine, Dan Boy Wonder. Great channel, love the guy. And the pitch for that is Ben 10 without Grandpa Max, him having to deal with grief while also learning this Omnitrix and all this power and stuff. Very cool. Don't know why Ben 10's on this list though. That doesn't make any fucking sense. All right, who we got, baby? Who we got? Wonder Twins. Atlanta right on Wonder Twins, not Constantine. Constantine. Constantine would be fun. But let's talk about Wonder Twins. The Wonder Twins first appeared in Super Friends number 7 from 1977, created by E. Nelson Bridwell, Ramona Fradon, and Bob Smith. It's crazy to think about a time where people don't know who the Wonder Twins are, but maybe like they're not really a thing anymore. But there are a couple alien twins who they like touch hands and they activate their powers, and they have like form of water, form of animal. I'm sorry, it's so funny to have to explain Wonder Twins. It might be low-hanging fruit here. I'm thinking we take the twins out of Wonder Twins. Take one of them out of the equation, if you know what I'm saying. You know what? Actually, let's go crazy here. It's about Gleek. It's about the pet monkey Gleek. Both of the twins are now dead, and he has to mourn them and take their bodies back for the funeral. Listen, they're not all gonna be winners, okay? Sometimes I gotta be silly. Okay, who else we got? Shazam. Captain Marvel, otherwise known as Shazam, first appeared in Whiz Comics number 2 from 1940, created by Bill Parker and C.C. Beck. There's a lot of ways you could go about Shazam Absolute book. You could do the same thing as that I was talking about for Static. You take away Billy Batson, take the innocence of youth away from Shazam, either making it like he's an old man that's given these abilities. That could be interesting. Could be, you know, the Shazam family, you know, that whole crew. But maybe they don't have Billy. Maybe he wasn't adopted. It's like they have to be the superhero team without the heart and the core of what makes them a team in the first place. Or what if you make it so that anybody could be Shazam? Anybody could call upon that power and become Shazam for whatever reason. So it's like the actual character of Captain Marvel, of Shazam, they don't exist, but it's anybody else taking on this power and taking on the image and the likeness and stuff like that. All right, who's next? Mr. Terrific. Okay, the modern version of Mr. Terrific, Michael Holt, first appeared in The Spectre number 54 from 1997, created by John Ostrander and Tom Mandrake, where the original Mr. Terrific, Terry Sloan, first appeared in Sensation Comics number 1 from 1942, created by Charles Reisenstein and Hal Sharp. Technology and science is like his bread and butter. He's the smartest, you know, third smartest man in the universe. If Batman and Lex Luthor need to be, you know, brought down a couple pegs, who gives a shit? It's fine. I'm calling him the smartest. So you could take like science out of his, you know, repertoire completely. That could be very interesting, making him like a magic-based superhero. What could be interesting is fair play is a big thing for Mr. Terrific, and it's basically this like motto that he lives by about justice without cheating the system and balance and fairness. And so what if you make a Mr. Terrific who's an asshole, who's still deeply competent, who's still the smartest guy in the world, but maybe he understands that he has to cheat a little bit. He can't do things fairly, especially in the completely broken universe that is the Absolute Universe, you know, where all the odds are stacked against him. Maybe you got to rig the deck a little bit, you know? What does fairness even mean in a world that is systemically, by the root of it, inherently unfair? Or actually, maybe more interestingly, maybe he leans even further into the fair play. In a world that is systemically unfair, fairness, he believes that he has to stick by it, despite being dealt this incredibly unfair hand. Still believes he has to play it fair. Because one of the biggest reasons I like Absolute Wonder Woman is that Diana, despite being raised in hell, raised by Cersei, you know, this witch of the Wild Isle, she's still Diana. She's still Wonder Woman. She still acts exactly like Diana should. Yeah, she's got a big sword. Yeah, she's got all these cool, crazy, edgy things. She's missing an arm. But at the end of the day, she's still literally exactly like Diana in main continuity, which is why Kelly Thompson should just be writing mainline Wonder Woman, but that's another story altogether. All right, who else we got? The writer, why is it? That's just Grant Morrison. Absolute Grant Morrison is like Brian Michael Bendis. Who put that on this list? I didn't put that on this list. Okay, I might have to trim the fat here because I'm getting a lot of the repeats. Nightwing. You know who Nightwing is. I don't need to do the whole spiel. Technically, Dick Grayson is already in the Absolute Universe. He's a member of the Robins that they're doing with the Absolute stuff, and it's very cool. It's very fun. What if you did Nightwing without Dick Grayson? Because for those who don't know, the name Nightwing actually came from Krypton. It was like a legend of Nightwing and Flamebird, who were very similar to Batman and Robin. And so that's why Dick took on the name Nightwing, because his other mentor, his other dad, Superman, taught him about that. And so for an absolute Nightwing, you know, we've already got Dick Grayson, of course. So what if you do it fully set on Krypton? What if it's the mythical Nightwing from those stories, especially the absolute version of Krypton, where we got to see like the reason it was actually destroyed and stuff, instead of like a natural disaster or the core being corrupted. It was actually corporate greed and essentially capitalism that destroyed Krypton, which, you know, sounds a little familiar, doesn't it? And so you could use an absolute Nightwing story to explore that, to like explore what Krypton was like, you know, generations ago in this Absolute Universe, and make him like a resistance fighter or someone who was like trying to prevent the rise of what Krypton's going to become, that we know it's going to become, and the sort of like inevitable doomed nature of the planet, and we know that he's essentially going to fail but is trying anyway. That could be very interesting. Or if you don't want to use like the Nightwing, you know, branding and IP for something that is inherently not tied to Batman. So you could like give that kind of same idea to Supergirl, actually. All right, Aquaman. Okay, this is the one I kind of want to end off on. Aquaman first appeared in More Fun Comics number 73 from 1941 by Mort Weisinger and Paul Norris, which also just so happens to be Green Arrow's first appearance. All comes back to Green Arrow, I promise. When you think about Aquaman, the foundational part of what you think about that character is that he's this outsider, this half human, half Atlantean who now has to become king. And at the core of everything he does, that sort of human element of him, the fact that he was raised in this lighthouse by his human father. We did see actually a version of Neptune's Trident in Absolute Wonder Woman. Kelly Thompson has said that there are plans actually to do Absolute Aquaman sometime in the future. I'm not sure if that means in Absolute Wonder Woman or, you know, a solo Aquaman book, but I think it could be very fun to do sort of what Green Arrow's doing, actually, and taking this character who ironically first appeared in the same issue as Green Arrow, it turned him into a horror monster, basically. Green Arrow is going to be this like slasher villain who's going around picking off people who are involved with Oliver Queen's murder, and is really being pitched as a horror comic. And from the solicits and the previews that we've seen, it really looks like it. And so you could do something sort of similar with Aquaman. You could turn him into a creature from the Black Lagoon type of character, like this fish creature who's like going around and for, you know, potentially justified reasons, taking off people who are harming the ocean or involved somehow in like Atlantean stuff. And for like the main character who's kind of like the one you're following, just like with Black Canary and Absolute Green Arrow, you could make it Black Manta, who is like investigating the death of his father or something, and he comes upon this horrifying fish creature who is also the king of Atlantis. And so it could be this sort of like dark underwater like cosmic horror type of thing in the same vein as Green Arrow. But because there clearly are plans for an Absolute Aquaman in the future, if they go a completely different direction, that's fucking rad. That's awesome. And that's actually part of why I love the Absolute comics so much. I think a lot of people have gotten this wrong idea that Absolute DC is just DC, which is already dark and edgy, but even darker and edgier. You know, you got Batman and now he's bigger and he's more brutal and he's more serious. And we're seeing like Marvel seemingly trying to replicate that with, they have their new Midnight line that they just announced, which seems very cool. It seems like a very horror focused line. I don't really think it's actually even intentionally supposed to be like an equal to the Absolute universe, but people are comparing it because I think there's this misconception. Absolute DC does not mean like DC extreme. That's not what this universe is. It's about taking creative teams who are genuinely talented, genuinely some of the best creative teams working in the industry right now, and giving them unfiltered, unmitigated creative freedom to take a character that they clearly have love for and see what can be picked out, see what can be changed. And they're examining and picking apart these characters in such a deep and meaningful way beyond just like the surface level, oh, take this but change things really quickly, you know? And the fact that it's gotten so many people into comic books, people that like have never read a comic book in their life, are talking about Absolute Batman. They're talking about Absolute Wonder Woman and Superman. At the very least, it's getting people in the door into this magical and amazing world of comics that I love so much. And it's getting us thinking about these characters on a deeper way than beyond just what we're used to with like the suits or the powers or the fights. And I think because of that, the Absolute universe, beyond just sales, beyond just popularity, has been a resounding success for DC Comics and also just the comics industry as a whole. But what is your idea for the Absolute version of your favorite DC character? Did you like this sort of randomized spin the wheel model? If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Special thanks to Onion, I'm Inky Now 6456, PP Steps 9053, ID Chrome, Liam Healy 7064, Ice Leaf 9439, Krona the Goat, Ashwath Kumar 377, JLG RLCL, Can of Chocolate 4694, Impalo Teneriz, and Aimbot Joker for joining the spectacular tier at my Patreon and channel members. This has been Troyboy17 coming at you live. Be responsible, and I will see you around.